next thing on the new business agenda is marijuana processing. We've been approached by a company who wants to put a marijuana processing plant in our township. It's not a sale, it's not a dispensary, it's not a grow. It deals with a truck coming in with product, the product being processed and sent back out. There's no public interaction in this. And they can explain more about it. These two gentlemen here, if you would stand up please and come up front and introduce yourselves and explain what your process is and how you go about it and how it would benefit us as a township.
All right, my name is Chris Venturini. This is my business partner, Michael. And we want to buy excess trim and stalks and stems, things that are normally not used. And then we break it down into a very fine material using grinders. And then we extract oil from it. And that oil they use to make lotions or gummies or any other edibles. And that's what we'll be making. And we won't be selling it to the public. Like, there will be no signs saying come buy, weed here. There will be no one coming to North Adams to go buy things. We don't need signage with a marijuana leaf on it or anything like that, so it's not going to be an eyesore for your community. Grow facilities tend to have a very strong odor, so the dispensaries, processing facilities do not. Most of the things that have a strong odor is the flower, which is what people smoke, and we're not going to be dealing with that. And our building will have sufficient filters to make sure that any odor does the best to make it up with the community. We don't need to be on the main road. We don't need to be downtown or anything crazy like that. We can be tucked away on a few acres somewhere where no one even needs to know we're there. And we just want to we want to keep it local. I live in Jonesville, and he lives in Hillsdale. And we want to keep it in Hillsdale County instead of going to Jackson, so we can at least give money to our local community, because you guys get a portion of the taxes for it. So
What are you estimating an annual sales at or annual income for you?
That's really dependent on where the market goes, like around in October time when all the places up north, the grow facilities all harvest, the price kind of goes down, so it's sort of like balancing it, selling it at the right time in the market. So that's a really hard question to answer, in the sense of it's a really hard question to answer because the price fluctuates depending on the supply. So
Just real quick, what did you say? Did you make a comment?
Oh, when you look up the processing, it has to do with making the gummies and all of that stuff too.
we're not making
we're not making the gummies. Like, we don't want to get in. We want to basically make the product that the other processors use to make their gummies, to make their vape pens and all that other stuff, but we don't want to get into that. Like, we don't want to spend the time doing that, or we just
You're
want
going to
do
be
that.
strictly extraction?
Strictly extraction, making oil, testing it, and sending it to a facility that does that.
The facilities that process it currently, that make the gummies and things like that, there's a shortage of the oil and the crystal that's used from there in all of their creation of things. So in the beginning, a lot of the companies were like vertically integrated, like they had a grow facility, a processing facility, and they had dispensaries. So they were like all in one chain. Then they came to the realization that there's a lot of time and money that's lost in processing. So they started cutting that stuff out, and they just started purchasing the oil and the crystals from other people. And that's going to be us. So it's going to be beneficial to them because now they don't have to do the processing. We'll take care of it. And then we send them the things that's used to make the finished product.
Tell me the size of your building. How big a building you guys going to be looking at?
So we've already ordered a building because we're looking for a place to do it, but it's 5,000 square foot, 50 by 100, galvanized steel tube building from Armstrong Steel out of Colorado because we got a good deal. They didn't charge us the tariff prices. They said that they were eating the cost, and so we got a good deal on the building. That goes into manufacturing sometime this week because we just finished the engineer drawings, and then I'm talking to Full Construction for them to be the general contractor. I'm gonna have Crouch Electric do my electric, Jabor Plumbing do my plumbing. The HVAC people are coming from a little farther north in Michigan, but they just do a really good job. They have the contracts for Westco and state prisons and stuff, and I became friends with them, so I'm gonna have them do that wherever we do it. But I would like to stay in Hillsdale. Like, we have talked to other townships, but some of them, like, they said we could do it, but it's not, I don't know how to describe it. Like, one of the places, like, in Camden, they would allow us to do it, but then, like, we're right in the middle of their town, and people live there, and we don't want them to just have us doing that there in the middle of their town. We'd rather be out a couple of, like, acres. If I was allowed to do it in Cambria Township where I live, I would just parcel off 2 acres on our property, throw it up and be done with it. The money still would go to, like, the county gets an excise tax from the state, but then each township, I think, gets like $58,000 to $125,000 per license they allow in. I'm not sure if that figure has changed since the first building I built in Reading, but I know that it helped them. Yeah, but I'd like to not be right in the middle of Camden, like where there's little kids at parks and stuff. It's still kind of, it's still a business that's in that, and you don't need, I wouldn't want to put it next to any of your houses. I wouldn't want to stick it anywhere near where it would bother you, so.
So what type of security is required for this? What
So-
type of security would you have?
So the state requires that we have 2 cameras on every door facing both north and south, east, west, whichever way the wall is. On the outside, 2 cameras on the inside, cameras on all the product, cameras looking over the parking lot of the property. I think in the other building I built, I had 32 cameras in it, and like 14 of them were outside watching the outside.
With the fence too.
And a fence, yeah, and we put the fence up, a monitored security system. We had, who's the lightning bolt? EPS was our security people that put in the security system and monitored it for us, called us if if the wind blew funny, like, it would make it go off, so, because we had infrared things on the property to just see a cat set it off a bunch of times. And then in Reading, I worked with the township, or I guess they're the city of Reading, like the city council. Door was always open, they could always come in anytime they wanted, the police could come in, sheriff could come in. We brought the state police when they came in Curry areas, we were like, here you go, sign paper, walk through the building. So we don't have a problem with that and being transparent with that at all.
And this isn't any public,
Huh?
it's not open to the public.
No, not at all.
If you wanted,
If you wanted to come in, you'd have to, like, you could come, you'd call us and we'd be like, yeah, sure, come on through, and then there's a sign-in sheet. You sign your name, date, time, reason for visit. The state comes and checks that. I think they're doing biannual inspections now, so they're coming twice a year and they're looking at it, they're going through the video footage, making sure that everything's in compliance. And the transporter shows up, but they come in like a Sprinter van. And then this building has a roll-up door, so they'll pull in, drop off what they have to drop off, take what they have to take, and we'll open the door and we'll leave again, go out the gate.
in terms of, you said that people can show up, if like someone, like in the city council or the police wanted to come in and they wanted to see what's going on, that's fine. But if they ask to buy things, that's not gonna happen.
Yeah, and random, like, so at my other building, I would have people come up and knock on the door, and the way I had it, so, like, they call it a man trap or whatever, where you have a door and then a second door, so they, like, even if they made it in this door, they're not getting to the next door. And so I would come out and meet them, talk to them, tell them, no, sorry, I can't do that. You really should be on the property. Thanks for stopping by, but I never really had any problems.
I have a question. It sounds like you already have a building.
I built one and sold it. I built the business, ran it for 4 years, and then sold it.
Then you bought new equipment, you want to locate in Adams Township?
No, I'm doing that. I had a grow facility. I don't want to do the growing anymore. I want to do
So what
processing.
do you want with Adams Township?
To put in a processing facility, to build
So you bought the equipment, you said you
a,
had.
no, we bought a building.
Oh, you bought the building?
Yes.
But you don't have a place to put it yet?
Well, it takes 3 months for them to make it. And sometime in the next 3 months, I should hopefully be able to find someplace.
Another question, maybe personal, but if you already had one in Hillsdale County, why did you sell it?
Because my partner at the time was my uncle, and his wife was getting stressed out. They wanted to get out, so we sold it. It's still a grow facility. We sold it to someone else. We all stayed on for a
So
year.
where do you get the oil? You're talking about extracting oil from
From the
plants?
plant, yeah.
So they're gonna send plants into our, well, not into our townships.
Well, this,
It comes in like Rubbermaid tubs, like from the grow facilities. They're gonna send no material, not plants. But it's all dry, right? They dry it at their grow facilities. They would process it, have a dumpster that's the dump. The trash man comes and picks up, takes that away. We had it scheduled at a grow facility twice a week. This, we don't know if it's like has to be 3 times a week. We have them come, we'll have them come.
So have you been to other townships?
Oh yeah. Reading,
They haven't okayed it?
yeah,
Reading okayed it, and so.
and Camden did too, but like,
That's down south, you got
And,
Oh.
and Scipio Township.
Sticker Township's its town leadership meeting is tonight.
No.
Yep.
And so we can't get
Okay.
off.
They don't have an ordinance against it, but they actually have a spot for us, but this is closer for both of us.
So I have a couple questions.
Well,
If somebody else
Al's got
first.
to be-
Just concerned that we don't have, they don't have an idea of where they're gonna do it. It'd be nice to know that information before they give the final approval.
Well, we can't buy the land without permission.
I'm saying maybe give you tentative approval, but not final approval until you tell you where to go.
Yeah.
That's a perfect
Well,
thing.
that's why we came to ask, like, where would be okay? Where would be okay in the township?
Like, we don't
we're
want-
not trying to come in and just like put it across the street here.
No.
Like, this is the beginning of the conversation.
Like if you have if you guys have like a spot that you wouldn't mind us being, because it's like tucked away on a side street, perfectly fine with us. Someone could just have a huge chunk of land and they just parcel us off a couple acres. And they make little money on the sale and we just go out there. We don't have to be captain your water or your sewage. We don't mind going a well on septic. So we're pretty easy going with that and we can pretty much fit in wherever you guys want us to be.
I think the village has won't allow any kind of processing or manufacturing or selling in the village.
The moratorium for the township says that it's growing and dispensary. There's not one against processing it.
I want to check with the village.
Well, the buildings are not gonna be, it's neither here nor there. What do
I
you-
thought this township, now I'm not judging, because I don't care if you have a pot place, I don't care if you sell it out of your house. But what the point is, didn't this township vote it down?
It was moratorium. Mark was
It
in,
was-
Stephanie was in, it was a moratorium that was set in place when they were on the board, the same as I was on the board. And it, the moratorium that we put in place, I had Mr. Fink look over. And nowhere in there did it say anything about processing. He said, and I quote, moratorium dissolves after 180 days. Is no good after 180 days.
I thought we passed something before that.
No.
I don't recall that. There was an opting out which
That
I
was
think
the
is what
opting
you're
out.
referring to.
We opted out of everything. That was
And I
done
believe the
before you
village
guys.
did the exact same thing.
I wasn't even coming to the meetings when that was voted.
Right, it wasn't before us.
It was before Stephanie was ever on, what I'm getting at, it was before Stephanie was in.
I don't remember for sure.
Well, I do.
Please,
Oh, yeah.
let's not get into it. I'm not saying that we're letting these guys in, I'm not saying that they're not coming. What I'm saying is, we're having a conversation on whether or not this would be feasible or
Right.
something that would be profitable for the township. Even if it did not make a mess, if it did not smell, if it did not interfere with the neighbors, if it did not cause a ruckus. This is a different product from growing plants by the thousands, harvesting plants which stink. And anybody who's gone by anybody who's growing pot knows that it stinks. And this isn't saying that they're gonna sell dope to the public. This is a completely closed operation.
But see, I don't see the difference because I can grow clones in my yard
Absolutely.
or whatever.
Sure you
So I
can.
mean, what, if they are gonna have a closed facility, I don't, from what I understand, that this, you know, I mean, anyways, yeah, what the oils, yeah. The vapes, they're made, you know, I mean, all the oils are made with the vapes,
That stuff's
Gummies
not made
are.
at their facility. The thing, what they are talking about
no, they're gonna
making is oils.
extract the
They're gonna
oils.
extract the oils and the crystals. Those oils and crystals will be sent to a manufacturer who makes the vapes, who makes the gummies, who makes the pills, who makes the candies. That's where that stuff will be made. They're not making that stuff. And I'm not, don't get me wrong, I'm not saying that, you know,
My point to this whole story is, y'all wanna judge it right now.
I'm not judging
I
anyone.
mean, you don't, anyways, like I said, I can go home and I can go up and get me some clones and I can grow stuff 6 feet tall right in my
12
yard.
plants.
So, that's, when it flowers, I'm gonna have everything I need anyway.
There you have
That's the whole point.
it. They're not open to the
So they're
public.
not doing anything really that would bother
Anyone.
anyone.
Nobody.
That's my point.
And the point that we're making is that the township will and could possibly
You're gonna
receive a revenue.
because marijuana is one of the biggest, but the government can't put their nose in it.
We just don't want to get into the sales of it. We don't want to get into the manufacturing of it. We don't want the township involved in a dispensary or
You
grow
can't, because
operation.
you guys voted it down.
But that moratorium, which we voted on, according to our attorney, is gone. After 180 days, it dissolves.
But the opt-out is not gone. The
Oh.
opt-out was,
Well, you can opt out all you want, and you can opt right back in. It doesn't mean that you can't go back and change it. You think that because
Maybe.
somebody 10 years ago said, "Oh, we're not gonna do that here, we're opting out of all of that," and then all of a sudden, the new board comes on and says, guess what? We're opting back in.
right. But you're saying, I'm
We haven't
saying,
made a decision.
I'm just saying, it's not, I hear you talk about a moratorium, but I'm talking about something before that, which was an opt-out, which was everything. By the way, is this CBD or is this THC?
THCA.
It does have THC in it?
THC.
Which is that still mind altering or not?
It's pot. Same thing as
Well, no,
marijuana.
CBD oil does not make you high.
Some do.
Do you use CBD?
Do I? No, but it doesn't make you high. It's the THC is the active ingredient in
Okay,
marijuana.
these guys are they're gonna be extracting oils and crystals off from stems, leaf,
Right. Well,
byproducts of marijuana.
if you took your oil, will it make you high?
No,
I mean, it'll make you high if you're taking it, but I'm not like the one to take it, like I'm selling.
no, no. If they
So it
take
is
crude,
THC, okay.
If
that's
they
good.
take crude,
Well, it's made from the leftovers of marijuana. These guys are gonna, and again, This doesn't mean that we are agreeing to put this in. We're just having
No,
a
but
conversation on it.
the people need to understand.
Yes, absolutely, and that's what we're trying to do here.
Yes.
But you cannot come into it with a closed mind and
I mean,
think
I
that this
understand.
is just something that's gonna stop.
I'm really apprehensive about the place in Camden, only because it's in the middle of people's homes. And like, I don't want to do that to them in their homes.
Okay, let this lady ask her question.
They keep saying they want to be in or out of the way. I don't want them building next door to me, and I'm back out of the way.
Well, they
So-
probably won't build next to you.
Well, they might not, but they might.
But we'll ask them not to. But what I'm saying is, that you can't come into this with a closed mind. We're not looking to turn the township into anything other than what it is. We are looking at what benefits the township as far as revenues.
Because we make a lot of money.
It's a business. It's a business.
So I have a question for them. He's not been allowed to talk. Do you want to take him first?
Yeah, I'd like just a little bit more information. First of all, this sounds like a commercial operation, so is there gonna be a zoning?
It would be zone commercial.
What would, and maybe you can discuss, what would be the income and utilities required? Your raw material and waste streams, is there an environmental impact? And, start dumping stuff out back?
So we're not dumping anything, like we'd have a septic system because we'd have a bathroom in there, but water and septic isn't used for this process. Air gas brings the propane butane mixture. It's like how Margaria has one sitting outside of their factory there. Just like that, like the big air gas, they come and fill it up once a week. We don't dump anything. We have the trash service. I don't know if it's Republic out here, but like whoever it is that would come and take the dumpster, they come and empty the dumpster.
Will there be a waste stream off the mixers or grinders, right?
No, it all gets ground and that goes into the extractor and then that comes out of the extractor, goes into the dumpster and the dumpster gets hauled out to the
Right,
landfill.
the solids have to go in the dumpster.
And then it goes into the landfill, yes.
The south, the south
Which the
system.
the state requires, we're already pre-approved by the state to do this. Like we've already turned in our applications to the state. It's all licensed through the state. We've jumped through the political and bureaucratic hoops to get to the point where we're at.
Yeah, I understand that.
To answer one of your questions, the material waste that there is, everything's been extracted from it, and it's effectively like blades of grass afterwards, that's just left over. You could smoke all of it and you get nothing from it.
Does it get composted or is it?
It gets taken, we have to mix, so the state requires you to like destroy it, so you mix it with like kitty litter or sand, or pour bleach on it, and then send it to a waste facility so they dump. Then it's,
Okay.
There's an electrical requirement on this.
yes, so we would have, so I was talking,
We'd rather run 223 phase at least.
I think we're gonna pull in 800 amps at 3-phase with step-down transformers to run everything at 240, 120 inside.
So then the zoning question would be, do we have 223 phase available? And
Well, that depends on what property they're looking at and where the electric would come from. So that's null and void. None of that stuff really is gonna matter until we either give them a tentative yes, go ahead and look for a piece of property, and then I'm imagining that when you're looking, you'll be looking for all this stuff to be available.
Yeah, well,
Because you're not gonna want consumers to pull it 10 miles.
No, definitely not. Like that gets almost expensive.
So you'll be looking for a place, the property, whatever, that has potentially all of the electric that you're gonna need.
Yeah, or at least like.
And then it would take the health department to tell you if your land's gonna perk and if you can put a well in. So those permits would be drawn. All this stuff would have to be drawn by permit. And we would, all of that the township would be doing would say, we would let you come in. Tentatively, given that you follow all the rules and regulations that are set by. Our part of this would be that you would have to draw your permits for the building from us. That would become a commercial operation. You'd be subject to, I believe, personal property tax. So the township would get that, but we would tell you yes or no that we would allow you to come in.
Yeah.
We're not looking for anything to be snuck in here or have a big high-on facility where people go in and just do nothing but smoke dope and take oil.
There would be public hearing as well when we go to change funds at the rural
Absolutely.
to commercial, anytime you change zoning.
Absolutely, and there'd be a public hearing, but you would have to have a commercial operation.
That
It
would
would
be,
be zoned commercial, not rural residential or industrial. And it could possibly turn industrial, but I believe it's.
A lot of
commercial.
places make you purchase land in their industrial parks, like, so I mean, it's up to all the different municipalities. When Michigan first passed the law, I went to the MTA office over there on the other side of Ann Arbor or whatever, and got the phone book, and I called 1,500 townships in the state. And a lot of them said, we're on the fence, putting moratoriums on it, some said flat out no, some said yes, some were, we'll get back to you, and didn't, it doesn't matter. Like, I highlighted everything, wrote down all the, I mean, I called it everyone in the state. Some people got mad because I had their phone number, even though they're public officials, and it's literally in the phone book from the Michigan Council Association.
Okay, so we're not looking to say no or yes, Mark.
Thank you. Two questions. Number one, you didn't really address the trucking very much because if you need at all Class A or frost-free roads, Adams Township has very few of those.
It's
It's a van.
like a Dodge Sprinter van.
So it's under the weight limits and stuff. Gotcha.
No, like I think like the largest one they have is maybe like the size of a mulch truck.
Okay.
With
The other question is why Cambria turned you down. They're a non-zone township, but
yeah,
they were just,
so Cambria opted out completely 100% when it first came up. Even though they're unincorporated and not zoned, like I can do whatever I want in my yard according to the rules except this. So they made a rule for that, which is weird to me because I have a motocross track right next door to my house. And they won't make them put a fence up. But I'm not in Cambria right now. I don't want to fight with them at the moment.
Okay, so
But
next question.
Cambria would allow me, I just stick in my yard. Like,
Let's,
I was wondering how many you will employ.
so this is a really small operation. There's Chris, myself, my two partners. One of them's a salesman, so he would never be there. And then my son and my aunt. And then after and Marla, which I don't even remember her last name, what it is, she got married. But it would be them while we figure out our process of like our workflow in there. And then after 6 months or 9 months, we'll reassess and be like, all right, we should put up another building and hire 10 people to run this. But first, we have to work out the bugs, like anything else. Like,
are you looking to buy enough property to expand on?
maybe like 2 to 4 acres. We might not ever go bigger, but we don't want to be pinched into where we can't. But we don't want to have if I bought 40 acres, I'd probably turn about 35 of it to hay. So it just depends on what we're able to find and what will work. The power, if someone has a shop somewhere down the way that's already pulled the 3-phase and consumers already ran the power out, and they can drop a tombstone and give us power right there, cool. If not, we have to weigh the cost of what that'll be, plus the amount of time it takes for consumers to do anything. So,
Did you look into the industrial parks? I mean, I might remember.
in where?
Hillsdale or?
In Hillsdale, Jonesville won't allow it. Like half the board says yes, half the board says no. So they just like.
I live in Jules.
He lives.
I tried.
Yeah, I mean, they have all the stuff you need.
I've owned a business in Julesville for 26 years and they still told me.
Reading has land in the industrial park, but somebody bought it and in Reading owns it, like the TIFA board owns it. And in it, if I say I buy 10 acres and I go to develop it, if I don't develop all 10 after after 3 years, Reading is supposed to get the land back from them so that they can, and pay the same price that they bought it for, so that they can go and sell it to someone else to build development in their industrial park. Well, their lawyers are arguing with the guy now, and it just, it's not feasible for us to wait for the receipt of lawyers on that.
So one more for me. I'm not personally against this. I think it'd be one of the least intrusive marijuana type operations
I think it
that
would
could
be
be.
the very least intrusive.
Yeah, but have you looked at the zoning to see, because I don't think we have any commercial areas available, do we, or industrial? And the requirements of the zoning might not even work.
Fall to what you guys determine the zoning should be, or if it's like something, like, so in Reading, they said it has to be an industrial park, but then you also had, they also had to have a township meeting, or a city meeting, a special meeting to have a special use permit for it, specifically for the business, like for the marijuana businesses. So they had to have another meeting to give us approval for special use, because it's written into their ordinances. And then they did that.
And you could draw a special land, you could purchase property and go in and file for a special land use permit.
Yes, if your zoning has that it's available for that.
Sure.
And then whatever your ordinance would be, would reference that in your ordinance, so. But then that's also another thing, and then there's the licensing fee, like, so the state has us paid, it says the townships can charge us like up to $5,000 for the licensing application annually, and then plus the annual fee to the state, plus the taxes to the state. The county gets a lot of money already from it. Reading gets a lot of money. I would have liked to be able to go on Reading, it's way closer to my house, but at the end of the day, I have to find a place to do it because I have partners.
Is there places around that are doing what you guys doing here locally or around that you guys are aware of? I mean, I was thinking you came to the first one.
Processing,
What you guys are doing now?
I don't know. I know that there was somebody over on Crop Road in Scipio, is that how you say it? Scipio Township, that he was going through the process to grow and have a processing facility out there, right at his, like, parcel off part of his property and doing it there. Other than that, I don't think there's another processor in Hillsdale County.
How about Ranger Captain? I mean, how's he?
I don't know. I know that in what's Jackson County's
England North.
what's Lenawee? Is that
Yeah,
whatever?
that's
Whatever
what
Jackson's in. There are other ones. Choice Laboratories, which is now Glorious, I think, is there. There was one called the Alvarez Brothers up there, but they went and sold their business.
Yeah, our business partner, he founded Choice Laboratories in Jackson. And that is the largest processor in Michigan.
Oh, is that?
They made 1 million gummies a day, they employed 350 people, and he knows how to run.
They started with a 5,000 square foot building and went.
Yeah.
Like,
We don't ever want to do that. Like,
we don't want to go to the level they went.
no, that was crazy.
They had a gummy machine that could fill this room twice. Like it was wild.
Okay, so, what they're asking from us is permission to look for land with a tentative agreement that the township will allow them to put in a processing plant.
Nothing like.
Is that basically the end of it?
Yeah, like we wouldn't want to go and buy something
And I'll say,
under the auspices that we were going to be allowed to do it and not be able to do it. Right. Is all.
as the board, that would be our decision, but, yes, you can look for land or, no, you're not gonna look for land in the township. My personal opinion is, I don't think that, I don't think this would be terribly bad for the township. I know it's an added income to the township because the state will give us money for your operation, for it being in our township. I see it as an income for the township. Whether or not it's a big income or a small income, but it would help us with the roads. It would help us with the roads, it would help us with anything else that arises, that we need the extra cash for.
Mr. Herman had a question, I think.
Mr. Herman?
I'm sorry, I'm a little bit at a loss, and I wanted to know what is the reason for this gentleman to give this presentation? I'm interested whether it is a legality. Is it a company? Have they got a legal company? Do they know what they can do legally in view of producing something? Knowing the detail, have they got a business plan and so on? What is the reason that they come to the township to present? Is there a legality behind it or so what? Because a lot of the audiences seem to know what they want to do. I haven't got a clue.
Let me see if I got the gist of it. The gist of it, I believe, is that they approached the township with their idea that they are going to open up a marijuana processing operation. But before they could open up the marijuana processing operation, they have to purchase land. They do not want to purchase the land if the township is going to say no. So they approached us on getting permission from the township to open up this operation.
For land. For the land is number one.
Well, they can purchase land and not open this.
Right.
Land is not a problem.
Right.
The problem is the township has to say, yeah, we're gonna let you guys get in there and do your thing with the marijuana.
So my question is, what legal documents have they got to prove what they are doing is a legal process in manufacturing something? Can they convince by some documentation from the state or from qualification institutions or so, can they prove that they could, I'm just asking.
Yes,
Yes.
yes.
They
You
can
said
do
that
that
earlier.
and give that to the township. So what is important, in my opinion, is that afterwards, when they manufacture, there must be a controlling process.
Yeah, we've already covered that.
Institutions who do that, which is not the township, but the township wants to be on the safe side, that we are not getting into trouble as a township because we allow something with it.
Right. That's why when he first talked to me on the phone, I called the township attorney. And I told him, because he sent it to me in a text. I read the text to the attorney. The attorney says, give me a day. So the next day he called me back and he said, look, I don't see anything going on with it. So at that point, I contacted contacted Susie. And then I said, we'll bring it up to the board. They called me back and said, I said, well, we're gonna bring it up to the board. They asked to attend. I said, good, because then you can explain the ins and outs. That's what they're here for.
But this will still have to go before the planning committee.
Oh, absolutely.
And the planning
It's
committee
still
can still
gonna-
vote it down, so if you buy property, there's no guarantee. And I might bring up as well, in our zoning, there is no special land use for anything dealing with marijuana. We have golf courses, we have storage facilities, we have all that. There doesn't even exist something that they could apply for a special land use.
Can I talk?
It's not for me.
I own a bed and breakfast in Jonesville. It was originally zoned residential. We got it rezoned to commercial in our residential neighborhood. We did that with the neighbors' permissions.
Yeah.
So I know that it's possible
We
to
do
get
that too,
something
with a
rezoned.
public hearing, we do that too, and
Yeah.
the planning commission still votes on it, even after all the input from the public. The planning commission will vote yes or no on it. So even though we say yes, it's still got a bunch of hurdles to jump.
Yeah. Well, and then that's also when because you'll have to write an ordinance, because we'll have to be able to present that to the state for our final license, like we have pre-approval, but we still have a stack of papers that they turn into the state, their process, and then they'll require from us the ordinance from the township, they'll require the permission from the township. So there's still a lot to do there. And if you don't have the ordinance yet, that's something that would have to be written. And then that's at your discretion how you do that. I mean, I could help with input, like what I did with reading, I helped them. For like, in reading, I told them, well, if you're gonna allow me to come in here you should at least make me put up a steel building. You should make me put a fence around it. You should write this into your ordinance, these sorts of things into your ordinance, because say I sell the building to someone else, they wanna come in, I don't wanna sell them a pole barn that's gonna get blown over and get knocked down in 20 years, like something to be there like 50, 70, 100 years, so that you can, even after we're gone, your town still has a usable building in your thing, and they did. They made everyone after that, like people were mad that I said that, or whatever, like, it's, at a certain point, it's for, like, we all die, like, what's left should be usable by someone else, I would hope. So it's, and also, like I said, I'm really hesitant about Camden, they're gonna let us do it, I can't believe they're gonna let us do it right there in the middle of their town. Like, I can't, like, I wouldn't want that next door to my house, you know what I mean, but if they're gonna let us, so I'm hesitant to do it there.
You keep saying you don't want to do it, is it noisy or?
No, it's because there's a park across the street where little kids play.
Right, but I mean, it's just a closed business, nobody knows what's going on there. It doesn't say marijuana.
No, it's not. I mean, they have like their dispensaries and their
Commercial building and stuff.
but it's just like, there'd be a house on the other side of the parking lot that close to it, and I wouldn't appreciate it if that was my
Right,
house.
yeah.
So I don't wanna do something that I wouldn't wanna appreciate with someone else.
We're just trying to be respectful to the region.
Whether or not.
Absolutely. Like,
Just.
after the oils refined into distillate, they can turn it into, they add it to like lotions and creams. You can apply it to your skin and it absorbs it and actually just make the whole area numb. And you don't have to take a narcotic or anything like that.
To decide whether
It go away. So yeah, there are lots of resources to do. You can, if you get a gummy to help you sleep at night, you can go to sleep without sleep. And I guess the only drawback is you want some Cheetos at some point.
We don't have to vote yes or no on this. It would be yes or no.
Say 5 years down the line,
If,
you decide you're not making any money in it. From what you had inside of it, is it like a gas station
in the country.
with the gasoline, that they have to dig it all out before?
There'll be no underground tanks.
It'd be like, you take outside, the side yard, stuff like that. No, it's not. Like inside it'll be, it'd be basically an empty room.
It's just because we say, yeah, go for it, doesn't mean absolutely.
Have you looked at it close enough to even know if it would go commercial or industrial?
Yeah, I spoke that it would go, commercial because,
Probably
they're not, they,
Do you mind if I sit down? I broke my back and my leg is going, I'm sorry.
Go ahead.
yeah, it would fall under a commercial operation. And at that point, it still would have to go, if it was any place other than, it would have to be a special land use in order for that
Which
to happen.
Jason suggested that there's no provisions for that.
There would be an ordinance have to be drawn up under the whole thing for marijuana, for the marijuana operation, which is been already talked about with the attorney.
What's that?
As a just in case, not as a done deal. In which case, this whole thing is just to give them an opportunity. If we say we're not out of it, we would allow it. They would go out and look for crop. At that point.
Would it be acceptable if, like, let's say we found land and we tentatively wanted, if we could talk to the planning commission at that point, so we don't buy land and not get stuck with it, that they say no with. Sure. It'd be like, this is the land we want, the owner already said we can have it, here's our money for the land, but it's all tentative unless you guys say yes. Is that acceptable?
That's part of what I was, honestly.
Okay.
Just to be safe.
Yeah, no, that's the process, as I understand it from my last go around building for this.
So, if you wanna find a piece of property and bring it to then ask the planning commission to bring it to here, and then we would send it to the planning commission.
When did
The planning commission, when we,
First Monday of the month. First Monday of the month at 6 p.m. in here.
is there a way that you could, like, call on those special meetings that you did before? Because we want to get this ball, I'm not gonna lie, we're gonna go to the first place where we find it, and it's a good spot. And if you could make an exception to like just have an early meeting, because it would just be like us.
well, it goes through the process, still would fall under having to be posted at a special meeting,
Yep, I understand.
That's $18.
and that's 18 hours. And then getting hold of the planning commission people and setting up the date. So that can, any special meeting can happen. Just
Yeah, because
done properly.
we want to make sure that like we can keep the money local. Because the last thing we want to do is go to Jackson. They already make enough money off it.
Okay, so you gave us your pitch, I got your number.
Yep.
Let us decide on it, and then I'll give you a call. In the meantime, if you do want to look for property, by all means, do that. And then let us know where it's at, and that will also be part of the process. Because we're gonna have to know where you want it. You're gonna have to find the property, and then you come see us.
And if anyone that you talk to heard about this meeting and they have property and they're interested, let us know.
Okay.
Because some people have a lot of land and they don't mind getting rid of it, but it's not currently for sale.
Yeah.
So,
So let's see how that works, and then we'll talk, in the meantime, we'll get with the planning commission. Okay?
does anyone else have any questions?
All right, I appreciate you guys coming.
Yeah,
So,
thank you.
it's very